All right, everybody, and we are on the Marq Hoke Show, and I gotta tell you, I feel like the velvet rope has opened. I
Mm-hmm.
have been let into the house. This is going to be terrific. Marq, Quen, and Isiah Kassidy, private party. The AEW World Tag Team Champions are
We're
in the
here.
house.
We
Of
are here.
course.
How's it going, everybody? Mark, you doing all right there?
Yeah, I'm blessed on this end.
I like that.
And Isaiah's got lunch ready to roll, so I'm trying not to take too long for him. But
Hey, hey,
look,
hey, hey. We in your house. We in your house. You actually we take as much time as you want.
oh,
You
This
let us know.
stomach is
We
growling
on
over
your
here.
house. It's your rules. Whatever you want, we got you.
oh man,
My lunch could wait, bro. My lunch could wait. Trust me, my lunch could wait.
mi casa de su casa. That's how this works for me. So, but
Okay.
but very happy to have you guys on the show. Uh,
Okay.
for fans that uh, maybe casual fans and are just starting to maybe get into AEW, Isaiah, I'll start with you. Where did you guys meet up, and how did you guys come up with the private party tag team? Because you've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah. So we met up at a school named House of Glory back in Brooklyn, New York. Our both hometowns, and I remember I was 14, turning 15 years old when I went to the school, and I remember I had a Jeff Hardy T-shirt on, and mind you, I was super nervous. You know, kid from high school. Everybody in the school was a lot older than me, and I remember Quinn just navigated towards me. He was like, "Hey, I like your shirt." I'm like, "Oh, thank you, I appreciate it." And then he was like, "Who's your favorite wrestler?" And I'm like, "Oh, this guy right here." He's like, "Oh, that's great. That's because that's my favorite wrestler." So we both kind of bonded off of Jeff Hardy. And then years as I progressed in wrestling training, we started doing like a lot of drills together. And long behold, everybody knew that whenever there's a drill, wrestling training drill to do, it
Mhm.
was always me and Quinn, doing it together. And I remember Quinn one time said, "Oh yeah, this is a private party," and that's how the tag team name was born.
Wow, that's a cool story. Mark, what got you to walk into that school?
Uh, there was a ring at the time. I kid you not. What was I doing? I was backyarding in a park, and then someone just said, "Hey, Amazing Red has a school open." And I was just saying, I was just like, "Wait, Amazing Red from TNA?" And it's like, "Yeah." So once I seen it, I went to the school and I met one of the head trainers, Brian Excel there.
Mm.
And he just saw me staring at it, and then he said, "Go ahead, touch it."
Oh, that was
Cause
it.
and then I looked I looked at him and like I'm saying I'm this I was like this quote in the moment I was like, "You sure?" Like it was something like it was something crazy, and I'm just like, "You sure?" And he said, "Yeah." So I touched the top rope and I pulled it, and it was tight, and that was it. That was the moment. I said, "This is where I got to be at."
Oh, that's awesome. And of course, you guys built this tag team together. But it is interesting when you're on the indies of trying to hold a team together like that, because we see so many times that they teams break up and come together and promoters put different guys together all over the place. How did you two manage to keep yourselves together through that independent journey without breaking things up even back then? Uh, Quen, what do you say about that?
I would say first off, that's wild. Because I would say we must be lucky, grateful. Because I was like, I didn't even know on the Indies they do that. Because if they're like, oh, we're gonna team you up with someone else, and Isaiah's on the show, I'm like hell you are. What?
Yeah, you're
I, I
crazy.
I didn't even know that was a thing. That's
You're
that's,
crazy.
that's for me. That's crazy. But then again, there was that one show that actually booked him in a 4-way. You remember that show?
Yeah, I remember that.
There's that one show that actually booked you in that 4-way, and they just had me on the sidelines. But I was there to support, so we did it by being I would just say just that team to book. Like when you
Yeah,
needed a tag team, it was private
yeah,
party, especially around here.
yeah.
It was like, all right, let's get private party. It was never. I don't think there was ever a chance where you just be like, you know what, let's have them do something else or team with someone else because that's bonkers.
Yeah, that's legit it. It's like when
Yeah.
you pay for. They know like, okay, you want an excited tag team,
Hmm.
you get Private Party. You don't get Mark Quinn singles, Isaiah Cassidy singles. You want a exciting tag team match, you book Private Party.
Yeah.
Well,
You want to
that's
open that show with a banger?
You
Pirate
book
Party's
Private
there.
Party. Yep, we're the guys.
that's really cool to hear that because like I said, I mean, I being around the independent scene here, it is so hard for guys to keep it together, and it just seems like you two are just kind of natural best friends, and do your thing. I mean, that chemistry is difficult to find. Zay.
Yeah, I feel like we've been friends for like such a long time. Even before we got signed. So I think that also helps us too. We didn't come into AEW not knowing each other. We knew each other way before AEW. So
Hmm.
that friendship carried out through years, and like it's years of me getting to know each other. He come to my family parties. I'm go to his. He knows my family. I know his. We do events that's outside of wrestling, and like really creating that bond and making it as strong as possible. So like nothing could really tear us apart.
So the time comes where AEW comes knocking on the door,
Mm.
Oh,
and the opportunity is arisen that you're going to be working for All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah.
What was that like for you, Isaiah, when you guys got the contracts? And I know there's some funny stories about the contracts, but I just want to get the feeling of what that was like when they said when the deal was there and you're like, oh my God, this is gonna happen.
Okay, so let me break it down to you. Let me bring you all the way back to how we got to this deal. So, I remember back on the Indies, there was a lot of guys that were surpassing us and like just like getting signed left and right. And I'm like, man, me or Quinn is good, if not better than these people that's getting signed. Like, when is our time gonna be? And I felt like we was grinding a lot, going to these shows, doing what it takes to, eventually be signed, but we didn't get a call. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna invest in a laptop and I'm gonna make a 1 minute highlight video of all my matches going forward. And next thing you know, I got the laptop. I spent like a lot of money, probably like my last, to be honest, because it was a lot of money and I wasn't making a lot of money at the time. Um, I made like a 1 minute highlight video, and I remember I tagged the Young Bucks on Twitter, and around this time, Young Bucks and FTR was beefing, right? And then I forgot who it was. I believe it was Young Bucks, and it was like, one day we'll face FTR and the world rejoice. So I kind of took that same tweet and made it to my own. And I was like, one day we'll face the Young Bucks and the world will rejoice. And then I put the 1 minute highlight video right underneath that tweet. And I'm at work while I'm doing this, right? So work goes by, I see my phone blowing up, blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, I see Matt Jackson. He put the eyes up. And I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, maybe there's a match. Mind you, I didn't know AW was a thing. And this is before AW started. This was like in 2018, December. I remember it like it was yesterday. Um, and I know AW was a thing. Next thing you know, I get a DM from him. He goes, "Hey, we're thinking about starting up this project. Are you guys signed? And would you be interested?" I'm like, "What? To work with the Young Bucks? Oh, Young Bucks is also one of our favorite tag teams." I'm like, "Absolutely. Like, we just want to face y'all. But now you're talking about a project? Okay, say no more. We're on board." Uh, Fast forward later, we got these contracts at a House of Glory show. We actually got the real contracts at the House of Glory show. We were super happy, on cloud nine. And I remember we got to wrestle that night, and like, man, I did not care about that match at all. Like I was so like zoned out, and I'm like, man, we just got signed. But I was like,
yeah.
nothing else matters. Um, and then fast forward, we did a match at Fighter Fest. It was us versus SCU versus Best Friends, and we killed it. Like we had the crowd rocking.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then apparently there's actually even better contracts than the one we originally offered. Uh, so the first contract we was offered, it was per appearance. We get paid every time we uh appear on TV. And I'm like, oh, this is what everybody's contract is. And then going forward, we have that match at Fighter Fest, and it's actually a salary based contract. Now you're getting paid every other week. And I'm like, wow, we made it. We made it. So to put all that in a bow is a very unreal experience. And I couldn't be even more thankful for it.
Yeah, and you guys took
Yeah.
off from there. And Mark, what was it like now taking that next step up when you guys arrived in AEW and started wrestling with some of the top wrestlers on the planet?
That's when. So I would say, on the indies, we were more the guys that's just like, this is how we want the match to go. So when we took the next step up, we were we were learning more. We were under the learning tree of everybody at this time. So every time we
Sure.
came out there, we were learning like, okay, you gotta face the hard cam. Okay, you gotta do this because it would make more sense. Or you have to do this and this. So we was more learning the next step. And that's when I think, okay, you know what? It's pretty good, like, sitting back and let other people take charge rather than, like you saying, oh, this. It was pretty good experience.
So you get that win in the AEW tag team tournament against the Bucks. And I remember that night and just
A win.
well
The
in the
The
tournament.
win.
Okay, sorry.
The win.
No, I
A
Okay.
thought
win.
this
No,
was the
the
win,
win.
but
The win.
Sure. That's appropriate. That is appropriate.
all right. All right. So you get the win
Woo.
and you but then of course you didn't advance in the tournament after that.
Oh
I
my
remember
god! He just had
well,
these.
hang
Well, why
on,
you
I'm
have to bring
getting
that
there.
up?
I'm
Why do you
getting
have to bring that
there.
up? Why do you have to bring that
Because
up?
I'm telling the story. I'm
All
telling
right,
your
go ahead. Go
story,
ahead. Let,
guys.
let him go. Quinn, let him go. Let him go. Let
Yeah,
him
let
go.
me go. I got this. I got this.
All right.
But I remember everybody was just going crazy when you beat the Bucks. And then after the next round, everybody's like, well, what's Private Party going to do from here? And that's when things got very interesting for you guys. And it went kind of up and down. And, Marq, you got hurt. And just it made for a very long road for you guys to get to the point where you're at now. And I'm curious, what were you thinking in the time between now and then, where Marq, you were down, Isiah, you were wrestling some great matches, and then Marq, you were coming back and wrestling some great matches, and to finally get to that point where now people are again looking at us as wanting to become the AEW World Tag Team Champions. It was a crazy ride, man.
Oh yeah. I had torn my pec, but I would say, do you remember, like, like how factions and stuff? Do you remember the HFO?
Yeah.
How? What do you thought of HFO?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I thought you guys did I thought it was solid.
Be honest. It's okay. It's okay.
But it was up and down. It was up and down.
It was.
Yeah.
Okay, so from our perspectives, the HFO, when it first started, it was us and Matt. It was a high. Then later on, it became a down, and I just felt like that one is just like, and it was nothing that it was nobody's fault. You can't blame anything. It's just something was not clicking, and then next thing you know, since that wasn't clicking, my muscle stopped clicking and tore my pec. So I went from being like, you know what, we're gonna figure this out, to like, well, damn, I have to figure something out now because now I'm out. And that time I was just really thinking, because I was like, all I did was wrestle. Like, I never really had a job that paid good and all this other stuff. So now I'm just like, without wrestling, what I'm gonna do? And depression kicked in. Yeah, it was just like, it was a completely, I would say for me, it was a completely down, especially if you want to go from the Young Bucks, and we was like, oh, Private Party's this, Private Party's this, and then it's just like, ugh, not them again. To now back up to like, hell yeah, Private Party. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say something that Isiah says. It's like roller coasters, up, down, up, down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Isiah, you went through a very interesting time because people were starting while Marq was out, people were starting to see you as somebody, maybe he should be doing singles, and the pressure to split up a little bit. And it, and I mean the talk was there, and Marq, it, but
Yo,
you're both
Marq,
awesome.
Marq, where you at?
Where am I at? I'm in Las
Yeah.
Vegas. I'll see you soon.
Oh, all right. Keep that same energy.
Yeah, it was.
I love you guys, man. Come on. But Isiah, that was a rough time for you too. I'm sure, with your partner out and trying to figure out your place in AEW.
Yeah, it was super scary because, like I said, I only thing I knew was professional wrestling, not professional, sorry, tag team wrestling, and I literally got out of training straight into a tag team. So for all these years, 6 years, 7 years, I've been doing tag team stuff. So and then when you kind of like threw me out into the deep ocean, it's like, okay, can I sink or will I swim? Um, and thankfully, I had guys like Matt Hardy and Ethan Page kind of hold my hand and walk me through this single journey. And during that time, I really felt like I found out who I was. I gained my confidence, and I just became more and more of myself on camera, and obviously turned it up to a bit of a notch. And then, I mean, to wrap it up, I feel like that time, even though it was a very bad time for a private party, but it was something that I needed because I felt like I didn't have an identity and I didn't have my confidence as a singles wrestler, as a wrestler in general, because I was always relying on Quen, you know what I mean, on the private party. But that time, that period, it gave me an identity and it made me know, okay, this is who I am and this is what we're going to go doing forward. And on top of that, no offense, Quinn, but during that time, that was probably the most fun I ever had in wrestling. Yeah, yeah. I said it. I said it. I said it.
Wow. So, all
I
right.
said it. I said
Oh,
it.
okay. You
I
know what?
said, and the reason why I say it was the most time is the most fun I had was because we was literally doing stuff on Dark, me, Ethan, and Matt, and we was literally just doing kind of like whatever you wanted to do. Where like we created a storyline and I started doing the moaning stuff, and then going at Matt Hardy's house and jumping off his roof, and it was just like really fun because we really had no like limits, and it was like, okay, just make the best out of this whole situation, and that we did, and we all came up with ideas, and see what stuck, and some ideas stuck, and then the rest was history.
Well, so then everything starts coming back together for
Wait,
you
wait. Can
guys.
I say
And
something?
oh,
I
absolutely.
would say
Absolutely. Go ahead,
it
Mark.
was no offense, no offense taken.
Okay.
But to say the most fun time you had, look over what?
Hey, listen, look.
Yeah,
This
I
is
got a
great. I
question to
promise.
that
What?
too.
No. I promise. This is great. This is
Oh,
great. This is the pinnacle of my career. But I'm saying, as far as like no championships involved, as far as just being out there and just having fun. If you was there, you would understood. I promise.
oh no, I know. Hey, guess what?
What?
You had fun. I had fun.
So that matters. That's a
Yeah,
team right there. That's a
yeah,
There
tag team
you
right there.
go.
yeah. This Mark
Hello.
guy wants. This Mark is trying to make us fight.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, Mark.
He's
Chill
been trying
out.
to make us fight
Yo,
this whole
Mark, chill
time.
out.
I'm trying to the exact opposite. You guys are
Yo,
causing the
Mark,
trouble,
chill.
man.
Chill, Mark,
Yeah,
chill.
trying to make us fight. Wait.
Hey, but it's interesting that people hear the story about Private Party. That it was because it was. I just felt like, wow, these guys are so good, and they just can't seem to catch a break, and until recently,
Yeah.
and you guys head into Wrestle Dream, an unbelievable match with the Bucks, and I know I was on the edge of my seat for it, saying, "Oh man, they're gonna get this. They're gonna get the titles tonight." And unfortunately, it didn't happen. But you follow it up, and I mean, the fans were just going nuts for you guys, and you got that magic back, and it led to putting those belts on your waist. I
Yeah.
On
mean,
our shoulders.
I mean, it's not on. I mean, it could be. I
Okay,
well,
get what you're
whichever
waist,
we
saying.
want.
shoulder.
You want on the waist, Mark? You want it around the waist? I could put it around the waist for you.
Well, no, well, it's better on camera like that. But,
Sure.
uh,
Sure.
but, but say, what was it like that night? Tell us
Which
your
Wrestle Dream
viewpoint when you won the
or
world tag team
oh,
titles.
okay. Go ahead, Quinn.
Oh wait, which one? Wrestle Dream or when we won the titles?
When you won the titles.
Because I was say Wrestle Dream was just like that was a great moment too.
It
That was the
was.
moment. That was the moment that set the ladder to this moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? I'm gonna answer this question from Wrestle Dream. You know what? I'm
Okay.
good. So Wrestle Dream, we in the middle of the match, and we're in there with the Young Bucks, and it's always like, you know what? We're gonna knock it out the park. But the difference was the fact that the crowd was chanting "Private Party."
Mm.
Normally it's like "Private Party, let's go Young Bucks." It was just like private party, and then in my head, I was just like thinking to myself, I was like, "This is our time. We're gonna win it tonight." At this point, I'm just like, "There's nothing stopping us." But unfortunately, that night it didn't happen, which created the private party movement.
Yeah.
It created, yeah, it created the buzz of like, you know what? These guys were just, we wasn't even in the title picture. Let's see what happens when they're actually like in the title picture. So that night, to hear like people created a path for us, people created this destiny for us. It's it's way too feel good of a moment because you know what, like you're saying, one of these guys gonna catch a break. We
Yeah.
didn't know,
Did not
but
know.
it started at Wrestle Dream, and then to head to Dynamite, knowing like this is gonna be our moment. Then to hear the eruption of hearing that 1, 2, 3, it's professional wrestling.
That is for
That,
sure.
that's what that is.
Miss Magic. That was
Yeah.
crazy moment, man. Crazy moment.
When did it stink in that you finally did it? I mean, there had to be a moment at some point you guys were sitting around after you won the titles and just kind of looked at each other and said, "This happened.
I
Here
feel
it
like when we
is.
got
We did it."
yeah, when we got to the back and we talking to everybody and then like talking to Tony Khan and like him congratulating us and taking pictures with everybody and everybody saying congrats, well deserved, much earned. I feel like that's when it hit. Like wow, we're really a part of history now. We're really tag team champions for a national televised company, man. It's so unreal to actually say that for 5 years after all the trials and tribulations, we finally did it. You know, we overcame everything and we finally got to this point where, you know, we're on the 101.5 show with Marq holding up these AEW World Tag Team Championships.
Yeah, that's it. It's awesome. Of course, we are on the Mark Hoke Show with Private Party, Mark Quen, and Isiah Kassidy. And they're going to have their hands full, everybody, because coming up
I just
here
thought you did.
on Saturday at AEW Full Gear, coming at you from the Prudential Center in Newark with the pre-show starting at 4 o'clock Pacific time. You got stuck right in with three other teams and a really weird combination of teams. This is one of the craziest four ways I think I've ever seen because you're going to be taking on those wild 80s boys, the Outrunners. And
Yeah.
then you got to
Yeah.
deal with Malachi Black and Brody King and the former world tag team champions, the Acclaimed. This is going to be a very entertaining match, to say the least. Mark, what do you do to plan for something like this?
So we was pretty much scouting beforehand. Like
Mm-hmm.
so when they was trying to qualify for a shot with us, we was scouting. We was looking at what they do. We was looking at where they messes up. We was watching their footage. We was doing everything. So pretty much we just gonna go in there and do what perfect party do,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
Well,
whoop
it's
their ass
Yep.
fair enough. But
and look good doing it.
Hell
oh,
yeah.
of
Of
course. Of course. You
course.
guys always look good doing it. But Zay, this match, it's going to be a fun night at AEW Full Gear. And I'm sure you're excited about this one too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like I said, man, we it's crazy to think that when Quinn came back from his injury, we came back at the first ever Dynamite of 2024. We came back at the Prudential Center, and I said, "New year, new champs." Fast forward, we're returning to Prudential Center. Same year, I said, "New year, new champs" as the AEW World Tag Team Champions, and it's also our kind of backyard because we're from New York, and it's like New York is not too far away from New Jersey, so it's a very full circle moment, and I'm glad that we can live up to what I said and defend these bad boys to where we came back at.
What would you guys say is the biggest lesson that you've learned along the way? If you could mentor other younger wrestlers or guys that are trying to hold a tag team together, what would you tell them, Mark?
Be
Mm,
consistent.
mm.
Just be consistent. Whether if it's like a text, a call, anything, training. Just be consistent because that's what's gonna help.
Yeah.
What would you say to that, Zay?
I would say just don't give up. You're gonna go through a lot of stuff. You know, it's gonna be a lot of highs and a lot of lows, but you gotta always remember there's always a light at every tunnel. You know, even though you may not be able to see it, you know, you just gotta keep taking step towards that light, you know. And there's maybe rough times and maybe dark times, but just always know at the end of the day, you know, it will get better. Because if you reach rock bottom, the only way to go is up. You know what I mean? And I felt
Yeah.
like we done reached the bottom a couple of times, and slowly but surely, you know, we've got to the top. It may have taken us 5 years, but every hurdle that we overcame, it made it all worth it. Because I can finally say to you, after 5 years, Private Party is your AEW World Tag Team Champions. And if we could do it, y'all could do it. Anything is possible. So don't give up.
Awesome words, guys. And
Yeah.
uh, and I'll tell you what, I have a feeling when a lot of people see this interview, they're going to be even bigger fans of you than they were before.
Hopefully,
So
hopefully.
Yeah.
yeah, and Full Gear is going to be a great night. Make sure you all tune in for that. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming on the Marq Hoke Show. I really do appreciate it. And it was a pleasure to talk to you, man. It's great to see guys excited about what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be fun to see where the reign of Private Party takes us over
Yep.
the rest of
Of course.
2024 and beyond.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Buckle up. It's gonna be a ride.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on, fellas. Appreciate it, and we'll see you soon.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Incoming.